The title says it all. This is the type of story I want to dive into today. But more than just any Uchiha family, I wonder what would have happened if Sasuke's family in particular adopted Naruto. There are some obstacles to this what if that I first need to talk about. Naruto is the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki and likely wouldn't even be up for being adopted, as despite his loneliness, the Third Hokage was technically taking care of him. Where do you think his apartment came from? Since when is a 5-year-old able to buy an apartment or groceries? The second reason would be due to the Uchiha themselves. The Nine-Tails was under control of an enemy Sharingan, and as such, the Uchiha themselves, while never specifically stated, were under suspicion after the attack, in which they were moved to a place on the outskirts of the village to keep an eye on them. Given that Naruto technically is the Nine-Tails, it normally wouldn't be considered wise to place him into the hands of the people who were suspected of using the Nine-Tails to destroy the village. However, let's give the Third Hokage the benefit of the doubt and say he trusted Fugaku far more than the others, believing that the Uchiha were truly trying to help, and used that logic that if the Nine-Tails ever broke free, that the Uchiha could control it. So let's just suspend our disbelief for a moment and assume that it is possible using the aforementioned logic as a reason why Naruto might be allowed to be adopted by the Uchiha clan. Now that we have the stage set, we can begin, but first, welcome to the Amagi. Before we begin, we publish a new video every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. The Amagi's reach stretches beyond just this channel, so if you're a fan of us, please consider subscribing to our other channels and following us on all of our social media. Help us reach our goal of passing 100,000 followers on all of our accounts by the end of the year. Our story starts about an hour or so after the Nine-Tails attack was stopped by the sacrifice of the 4th Hokage. The location is Konoha hospital. Now, if you can imagine, the lights are dimly lit and flickering due to the damage the Nine-Tails has caused, as the sound of a vast sea of people all churn and speak at once, begging loved ones not to die, asking questions as to who is behind this, and issuing commands to any free medical nin to save those who can be saved and bring peace to those who can't. Among all of this, a small baby is alone. There's nobody to tend to it because they're too busy dealing with the people whose lives are actually in danger. This does not mean that nobody cares. There's a set of eyes looking in on him, her eyes moved with compassion. Mikoto Uchiha. Having helped Fugaku Uchiha secure the border during the Nine-Tails attack, she rushed home to check on Sasuke and Itachi. Upon hearing about the demise of her close friend, she rushed in to check on the child she left behind, Naruto Uzumaki, named after a fish cake, taking on the surname of Kushina to protect him from enemies of the Namikaze clan. Almost as if seeing what the child will suffer as an orphan, she cannot let it stand. She petitions to adopt the infant, and the Third Hokage approves it. As time passes, Naruto and Sasuke begin to grow. They're thicker than thieves, and often beg Itachi to teach them how to be shinobi. Of course, Itachi blows them off a bit, and instead just trains in their presence. But Naruto and Sasuke still sorta take it all in and practice with each other anyway. Not like this really gets them any headway, or any stronger than Sasuke would have been already, but they try anyway. Naruto and Sasuke would both enter the academy together, but Naruto would find that all the other kids seemingly hate him. The villagers give him a strange stare everywhere he goes, and other kids never want to play with him. Sasuke would still stick close to him since he didn't like seeing his little brother picked on. Naruto and Sasuke would train really hard to master the abilities that were being taught in the academy. Sasuke is top of his class and picks it up really fast, but Naruto is a bit slower. He has a harder idea with the concepts. Of course, this isn't as bad as it would be in the original, because in the original timeline of events, Naruto is all by himself, and has nobody to talk to or train with. Here he actually has a family. A mom, a dad, and 2 older brothers, and he can rely upon these to help him as he learns. After all, his father is the clan head of the Uchiha, and his mother is a former experienced Jonin, and his eldest brother is already a shinobi even in the Anbu. So for his slow nature, he has his family to help him, which at least makes Naruto average in the class. However, as time passes, Itachi becomes more distant, much to Naruto and Sasuke's confusion, but Fugaku begins to spend more time with the young ones, so they don't mind it much. Fugaku even attempts to teach them the Great Fireball technique. Sasuke picks it up quickly, but Naruto, of course, does not. One of the biggest reasons for this is that Naruto's natural affinity is wind, not fire, and the fact that he's slower than Sasuke doesn't help. But Sasuke continues to try to teach Naruto, and through this training, Sasuke becomes even more proficient in it, and Naruto eventually manages to get it down, though on a far smaller scale when compared to Sasuke. After training so hard to teach Naruto this technique, they come home only to find a lot of dead people. Naruto and Sasuke freak out and run home to tell their parents, only to find them dead at Itachi's feet. Naruto and Sasuke beg Itachi to explain it to them, but instead he casts the Tsukiyomi on them to show them the murder of their parents at Itachi's own hands. Naruto and Sasuke flee for their lives, but Itachi corners them. Naruto begs Itachi to tell him it isn't true. Itachi tells Naruto that it is true, and that he would kill them both now if they weren't so weak that they couldn't offer resistance. Itachi turns to leave, but instead of fleeing, Sasuke attacks him with his newly awakened Sharingan, which Itachi barely minds, and knocks Sasuke back only to show him how truly weak he was. But suddenly, Naruto comes in, having awakened his initial Jinchuriki mode, and attempts to kill Itachi in an utter rage. Itachi has some issues with this, but manages to subdue Naruto. He leaves them there, just as Sasuke wakes to see Itachi crying as he looks back on them. From this point on, Sasuke and Naruto are completely altered. The hatred festers further, and the villagers display their hatred of Naruto. It takes root when Naruto's interested in a fox mask, but the shop owner kicks him out and throws the mask at him just to get him to leave. This hits Naruto hard. He goes back to the apartment that he and Sasuke share, and the anger in his heart turns to hatred, something that allows him to connect with the Nine-Tails within him. Naruto's hair, from the pure hatred he feels, causes his hair to turn black as an Uchiha Clan member. At first, this gives him a level of anonymity, but that doesn't last very long. Naruto seems even colder and darker than Sasuke. He has no friends, and unlike Sasuke, no girls fawn over him, mostly because their parents warned them to beware of him. Sasuke is Naruto's only friend, the only one he cares about, and the only one who cares about him. When they aren't in the academy eating or sleeping, they're training together, which increases their growth the longer they go. Naruto is also commonly visiting his subconscious to speak with Kurama, who at this point sees a kindred spirit within Naruto. A spirit that's been broken by this world's selfishness. The village has seen Naruto as the Nine-Tails, and now even the Nine-Tails sees Naruto as the Nine-Tails. In his suffering, he actually forms a bit of a relationship with Kurama, which allows him to use far more of its power in various ways. Eventually, Naruto and Sasuke graduate from the academy and are placed on the same team together, alongside Sakura Haruno under Kakashi Hatake. Together they form Team 7. On the day their team is formed, Kakashi asks them what they want. Sakura, of course, wants Sasuke, and Naruto and Sasuke both crave revenge on the man who killed their family and clan, as well as to restore it. They do the bell test, but given how Naruto and Sasuke grew up together, trained together, and both share the same techniques and strategies, their teamwork is phenomenal. Of course, Sakura is mostly left out, but it's teamwork nonetheless. Though they just barely fail to get the bells, Kakashi still passes them. They proceed to do a number of odd jobs as missions, but eventually they land a C-rank mission, in which they must escort Tazuna, the architect, to the Land of Waves, where he'll help build the bridge that will connect the Land of Waves with the mainland. However, as this mission proceeds, it becomes clear that there are those who do not wish for the bridge to be finished, and those people have hired powerful shinobi to ensure that it never happens. The Demon Brothers attack, and Naruto defends himself and kills them, much to Kakashi's surprise. Naruto's eyes bear the mark of a fox's, but he quickly returns to normal. They continue on until Zabuza appears in their sights. Kakashi fights with him, and most of this battle remains the same. When Kakashi recovers, he instructs them to train. He tells them to continue to climb up these trees until they can reach the top. He tells them to pool their chakra on the soles of their feet to make it happen. Sakura quickly learns this, but both Sasuke and Naruto don't do so well, with Kakashi noting that Sasuke adds too much chakra, and Naruto adding even more than Sasuke. Naruto and Sasuke are way too aggressive. He tells them to take a chill pill and keep trying. They continue to try for hours on end, but both feel that they're getting nowhere, and are beginning to feel frustrated, especially Naruto. At one point, Naruto tries so hard that the moment he puts his foot in the tree, the chakra he was using utterly shatters its trunk, causing it to fall and Naruto to launch back. Sasuke would check on him. "Are you okay?" Sasuke would ask. Naruto would look up at him. "No, I'm not. If we can't even climb a damn tree, how are we supposed to bring down Itachi?" Sasuke helps him up. "We'll keep trying." Together they continue to try, and eventually they master it. Inari would come in, notice their headbands, and tell them that they're stupid for trying to be heroes, and that heroes never make it in the world. Naruto would stand and look at Inari and ask who's trying to be a hero. Naruto certainly wasn't. "I'm not here to save your or anyone else's life. I'm only a shinobi to get strong, and when I'm strong enough, there's someone I'll track down and murder." This startles Inari. In fact, it startles everyone around them, as they can sense a darkness coming from Naruto. Inari starts to cry as Naruto's face has seemingly shifted into his initial Jinchuriki mode, his teeth sharpened and his eyes the same slits as a fox. Naruto looks around and just sits down quietly to finish his meal. It's a very awkward night from that point on. Eventually, they begin to leave to protect the workers of the bridge, and Gato sends his men to grab Inari and his mother to use them as hostages to keep them from finishing the bridge. Zabuza and Haku appear. Zabuza fights against Kakashi and Haku faces off against Naruto and Sasuke, but Haku is not ready for this duo and is easily defeated and killed. Sakura continues to protect Tazuna. Zabuza is eventually defeated by Kakashi with the help of Sasuke and Naruto. However, Gato's men show up, holding Inari and his mother hostage. Inari begs for their help, but Naruto declares that he is no hero and prepares to kill Gato's men. But when Kakashi stops him, he relents. It boils down to Tazuna and the workers giving in to protect Inari and his mother, and the bridge is never completed, with the Land of Waves remaining in Gato's control. The shinobi return home to Konoha and complete a few odd jobs on the side. Despite everything, Kakashi still thinks his team can handle the Chunin exams, so he signs them up. Rock Lee would attempt to battle Sasuke before the exams begin, and Naruto lets them. Rock Lee nearly beats Sasuke though, which grabs Naruto's attention. However, before he can launch the final attack, Might Guy stops Lee. Naruto watches them leave and declares to Sasuke and Sakura that Lee and Guy are both freaks. The first test begins. It's a written test. Naruto doesn't know the answers, so he gets frustrated. Sasuke breezes through the Sharingan, and Sakura just answers them alright because she's an egghead in a good way. When the final answer of the test is revealed to be an automatic pass or fail depending on the answer given, Naruto is interested. They inform him that if he fails, he'll be a Genin forever. All this considered, Naruto doesn't care to rank higher. He cares to get stronger, so even if he fails, it wouldn't alter his goals, so he continues on anyway. However, merely by taking the question, he passes. Team 7 moves on to the next trial, the Forest of Death. They have a plan. Sasuke will use his Sharingan to find the scroll they need, and they will then take it to the tower. Simple, but before they can enact it, Orochimaru intervenes. Sasuke is paralyzed by Orochimaru's killing intent, but Naruto isn't, because he already has his own system thanks to the Nine-Tails. He saves Sasuke by stopping the snake from devouring him and tells Sasuke to snap out of it. Now, before we continue, there's something to note here. Naruto has long since removed the seal in Kurama. Naruto and Kurama are sorta best buddies at this point, both being so full of hatred for the Hidden Leaf. Why doesn't Kurama escape? Perhaps it's because he actually likes Naruto and finds that he has someone to connect with. I'm not sure. If you're wondering, I'm basing this Naruto after Menma Uzumaki from the Road to Ninja movie, which is how I view Naruto if he were as full of hatred as Sasuke, or more so. In that movie, Menma was perfectly meshed with the Nine-Tails and possessed no seal, likely due to having it removed years earlier. That being said, assume that the same relationship that Menma has with his Nine-Tails is that of Naruto with Kurama currently. Now, due to Naruto not having a seal for Orochimaru to see, it's likely that Orochimaru would not understand where this power comes from, and thus would not use the 5-element seal. Instead, the two would fight, but Naruto is still weaker in this state than Orochimaru and instead gets knocked out for the time being. Sasuke is then branded with the Cursed Mark of Heaven, which causes intense pain followed by unconsciousness. Sakura would take care of them until Naruto awakens. Due to only really getting a bump on the head, Naruto would awaken quickly, and would be awake to protect Sakura and Sasuke from the ninja of the hidden sand, and thus would not need Rock Lee's help. Eventually Sasuke would awaken and they would manage to get the other scroll and make it to the tower. Most of the preliminaries go by as normal, except that when Naruto fights Kiba, he goes all out and accidentally kills Kiba due to his own aggression. Due to this, as well as his reputation in the village, the crowd boos him and throws trash at him in an uproar. Thus, they begin to pull far harder for Neji, but Neji is also defeated, though Naruto takes extra care to ensure that he doesn't kill him after the month's time off. During the month off, Naruto and Sasuke continue to train, Sasuke with Kakashi, and Naruto trains with Kurama to learn how to handle more of its power. While he's at it, Naruto unlocks the version 1 form, and also learns to make a tailed beast ball in his hand, which he treats like the main timeline's version of Naruto does to the Rasengan. Meanwhile, Sasuke learns Chidori, and how to do taijutsu to a better degree. When the Chunin exams resume, Sasuke faces off against Gaara of the Hidden Sand and seems ready to beat him. But when Gaara's on the ropes, Kabuto uses the Temple of Nirvana technique to put the entire stadium to sleep. When Naruto wakes up, he's informed that Sasuke went off to fight Gaara. Naruto chases after, only to find Sasuke has been defeated and is about to be killed. Naruto fights Gaara in his version 1 form, and Gaara faces off with Naruto in his partial transformation. When Gaara puts himself to sleep to let Shukaku out, Naruto uses summoning to bring out Kurama to fight Shukaku. Naruto would then rush out and punch Gaara to wake him up. Naruto would reveal that he didn't kill Gaara because Gaara was like Naruto. Gaara knew what it was like to feel such hatred, and for some reason, Naruto couldn't bring himself to end Gaara, probably because Naruto doesn't want to suffer alone. Gaara flees back to the sand with Temari and Kankuro, all while Naruto and Sasuke are put in the hospital. During this time, the Third Hokage has his funeral and they send for Tsunade, but Tsunade dies facing Orochimaru and Kabuto, and instead Danzo Shimura is instated as the Hokage in her place. Later, Sasuke is approached by the Sound Four who kick his ass but promise to lead him to Orochimaru if he follows them. After deliberation, Sasuke decides that Orochimaru is the best chance he and Naruto have to grow stronger, so he tells Naruto about it and they both leave the village. Sakura tries to stop them but fails. Once out, the Sound Four tells Sasuke that Naruto wasn't a part of the deal, but Sasuke informs him that he is now and they all depart. Now, just to let you all know, the Sasuke, which would now be called the Sasuke and Naruto, recovery mission would not happen the same and basically wouldn't happen at all. After all, Naruto has killed Kiba, meaning it would be harder to track them. Rock Lee wouldn't be there to fight against Kimimaro with Gaara due to Gaara not having a change of heart due to Naruto also being full of hate, and Lee would not be able to continue his shinobi career due to Gaara wounding him, and Tsunade not being there to heal him. This means that more than likely the Sound Four get away scot-free. During this time, they give Sasuke some medicine and put him in a jar and carry him on. Naruto runs with them to further protect his brother. Eventually, at about the time that they would reach the Valley of the End, Sasuke would emerge with new power that could finally rival Naruto's. They meet up with Orochimaru at his secret base where Orochimaru is surprised to see Naruto there, but he believes it to be a pleasant surprise given that he has come to learn that Naruto is the current holder of the Nine-Tails. Orochimaru offers Naruto a curse mark, but Naruto refuses, stating that Kurama hates the idea of Naruto relying on any other power than its own. Time would then skip forward. Naruto has studied many techniques under Orochimaru, as has Sasuke. Sasuke has grown stronger, but Naruto has possibly surpassed him once more, having awakened a controlled version too. Beyond that, Naruto has, through Kurama, learned a new technique that allows him to split Kurama's energy among 9 smaller beasts, a technique not dissimilar from the one Asura helped use his father use to split the 10 tails into 9 other beasts. Naruto calls these entities he's created the 9 masked beasts. Each one is a tiny fox kit that takes on the form of one of 9 things. They can turn into a seahorse known as an azure dragon, a white tiger, a vermilion bird, a black tortoise, a golden snake, a celestial maiden, a Shinigami death god, a sage of the North Star, and a sage of the South Star. This technique sort of puts Sasuke to shame, and Sasuke seems slightly jealous in a way. It's around this time that Orochimaru is meant to meet up with Sasori, but instead it's Yamato and Sakura and Sai. Sai appears to want to turn to the dark side and follows Orochimaru, but instead plans to kill Sasuke and Naruto and to take the Nine-Tails back. But Naruto and Sasuke kill him. They exit the lair to find Yamato and Sakura there. They finally sever ties with their past by killing both Yamato and Sakura. A while later, Sasuke and Naruto realize that there's nothing left to learn from Orochimaru and that they're plenty strong enough. So together they decide to kill Orochimaru, and when Orochimaru attempts to take Sasuke's body, Sasuke turns it on him and instead takes Orochimaru's power. During this time, Naruto personally kills the Sound Four, who would not betray their master. Naruto and Sasuke prepare to leave the lair, but before they do, Sasuke releases Suigetsu Hozuki. From there, they decide to build their own version of the Sound Four, technically Sound 5 counting Kimimaro, and name this team Hebi, later Taka. It consists of Sasuke, Naruto, Suigetsu, Karin, and Jugo, the latter of which is the source of Sasuke's as well as all of the cursed seals created by Orochimaru. While they attempt to search for Itachi, they're confronted by Tobi and Deidara, who are there to stop them and take Naruto's tailed beast. However, this fight stays mostly the same, except it goes better with Naruto there. Sasuke and Naruto regroup with their team. They head towards an Akatsuki base that they were told about where Itachi waits for them. Hebi waits outside as only Naruto and Sasuke are allowed to go in, where they will face their brother and kill him for what he's done to the clan. Sasuke starts off against Itachi as the two begin to trade genjutsu, during which they face off with taijutsu. Sasuke asks who helped Itachi eradicate the Uchiha, knowing Itachi likely couldn't have done it alone, and Itachi claims that it was one of the founders of the Leaf, Madara Uchiha. Sasuke doesn't believe him, but Itachi insists anyway. He also reveals that his Mangekyo Sharingan has been causing Itachi blindness due to overuse, and that the only way to stop this is by trading eyes with a sibling, which he plans to do with Sasuke. He attempts to put Sasuke under Tsukiyomi, but Sasuke breaks out. They switch to ninjutsu and begin to compare great fireball techniques. Sasuke begins to pull ahead, but Itachi uses Amaterasu. Naruto steps in and uses the great fireball technique as well and pushes Itachi's flames back. Sasuke prepares to use Kirin on Itachi as storm clouds appear. However, Itachi survives it by using his Susanoo. Naruto summons Kurama to deal with Susanoo. While Kurama deals with the Susanoo, Naruto jumps from the head of Kurama in a similar style as to how he did against Gaara, but instead of a fist, Naruto begins to use his ultimate technique, Great Spiraling Ring. This technique is a tailed beast ball supplemented by Naruto's own chakra and wind style, which is this timeline Naruto's own version of the Rasen Shuriken. This attack manages to break through Itachi's defenses and strikes him with an explosion. Itachi lays on the ground defeated and smiles. Naruto and Sasuke walk up to him and ask what is so funny, and Itachi states that he's glad that it's all finally over. Itachi then gives up the ghost and dies. Naruto and Sasuke smile and fist bump, having avenged their clan. However, they're approached by Tobi, who begins to explain things. Tobi introduces himself as Madara and begins to talk. He reveals that the only reason why Itachi killed the Uchiha Clan was due to Konoha's leaders ordering him to. They argue and debate for a while, but in the end the truth hits home, and both Sasuke and Naruto are overcome with grief. It's this grief that awakens Sasuke's Mangekyo Sharingan. They then decide to destroy the leaf, and Sasuke then renames their group from Hebi to Taka. With Naruto in tow, they all head to the hidden leaf and attempt to eradicate it. Naruto enters the village with Sasuke and Taka, and Naruto suddenly releases his 9-masked beasts. They then begin to assault the village. The other shinobi, including Kakashi, come out of the woodwork to face off against them. And they all manage to push the 9-masked beasts back, but they return to Naruto, and Naruto uses them to release Kurama and attack the village further. In this battle, Naruto kills Kakashi, all while Sasuke and the rest of Taka face off against Danzo, the current Hokage. After a long battle, Sasuke kills Danzo, and they return to Naruto and escape on the top of Kurama's head. The tailed beast, once out of the village, turns around and launches a beast ball that utterly eradicates the entire village hidden in the leaves. Feeling that they've been completely satisfied with their revenge, Naruto and Sasuke decide that the time has come to rebuild their clan, which Karin happily agrees to help them with, wink wink. However, before they can do that, Tobi would attack them. He'd personally remove the tailed beast from Naruto the same way that he had done to Kushina Uzumaki, and would effortlessly kill Sasuke. At the last moment, Orochimaru takes over Sasuke's body and revives, carrying now the Mangekyo Sharingan, which he would later exchange for Itachi's Mangekyo Sharingan to gain the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. He would grow loyal to the Akatsuki again, which Tobi would allow because they were about to remake the world entirely. They use the impure world reincarnation jutsu to revive Madara, who then reclaims his Rinnegan from Nagato after he forces him to revive him with the Samsara of Heavenly Life technique, and then absorbs the Ten-Tails. But, wouldn't you know it, Kaguya resurrects in Madara's body and then casts the infinite Tsukiyomi over the world, and reclaims all of the chakra that was once hers, sealing the fate of the world. And that's all, folks. That's how I see the series ending. Rather sad. Of course, I'm sure there are plenty of other ways this would play out. With Naruto always being the subject of hatred though, if we added the slaughter of his family and the only clan that seemed to care about him on top of that, I wonder if even Naruto's heart might fall into complete darkness. As stated above, I personally think it would. I also must admit that I thought it was fun to use Menma's character template for Naruto here, since Menma seemed to match my idea of what Naruto would be if he had followed the same path of hatred as Sasuke. It was also nice to use his 9-masked beasts abilities, which was unique and very reminiscent of a 6 paths technique, such as the 6 paths of pain and the yin-yang style creation of all things technique. While the ending is sad, it's one we all expected. The Akatsuki only wanted Naruto and Sasuke for their own gains, and in the end you have to expect that they would take the Nine-Tails from him. But even still, their plan was doomed from the start, as Zetsu was always manipulating Madara, just as Tobi was manipulating Sasuke. In the end, this is what I think would happen. But what do you think would happen? Tell us in the comments below. Make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to be notified when new content drops. Peace.